it's Miss Cyberling. Today we're going to think about and learn about fantasy. So fantasy falls under speculative fiction, which tends to encompass futuristic, supernatural, or fantastical elements. And fantasy really explores sort of like human nature or moral dilemmas through sort of like the lens of adventure. So fantasy books tend to be very plot driven, very sort of exciting. Usually there is a world that is very different than ours that the author has created. So it's incredibly creative. There's so much imagination. There's so much work in creating backstory and developing a whole world that is not the one that we're familiar with. There can be different technologies, there can be different kinds of clothing or hairstyles. So if you are a person that loves to play in your imagination, this might be your genre. So I'm going to read an example that I wrote in this genre, and then I'm going to give you a little prompt to start thinking about creating a world for your own fantasy world. This is from my book, The Young Writer's Fiction Workbook. You can get it on Amazon. It's got writing instruction prompts, all that good stuff. The trees had been whispering since the spring solstice. Lira didn't speak tree, but the rushed hum of them talking all at once unnerved her, a mix of clucks and currents like the sounds of chickens drowning. If only she had paid more attention in primary school, she might be able to decode some of what they said. Her cloth boots were stained green from moss. She should have worn her old ones. Her aunt would be upset, and she would have to make up a story about why and how she had ruined them. Lira knew she shouldn't be out. This is when the wolfmen hunted. But when else would she be able to try the key? The farthest tree in Shondela had a secret door in the back of its trunk. Antoine had told her about it at last year's Perseid ceremony, and it might be her first step in finding him. So popular books in this genre are The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe series by C.S. Lewis, Game of Thrones, you've probably heard of that or seen the show, by George R.R. Martin, or The Lord of the Rings by Tolkien. So if you want to pick up one of those books, if you're excited about this genre, they tend to be multi-book series, so there tends to be like at least like 3 books. Some of them have like 6 books in a series. A lot of times an author will commit to this world and then keep writing in this world, different stories, different sort of characters, different wars maybe that are going on. So let's start to make up our own world, shall we? So for this prompt, I'd like you to get out just a blank piece of paper. So probably not be on your computer, and maybe a couple drawing things like some pencils, some color, if you want some markers or something like that. So I'd like you to draw a map of a made-up world. It can be anything that comes to your imagination. There are no rules. And then maybe write the Wikipedia page after you kind of finish drawing out your map. You can go to your computer, or you can draw it on the back or write it on the back of this paper. Write the Wikipedia page for this made-up world where everyone is the same height, gender, race, and age. Maybe try that and see what it inspires or unlocks. And you can always stray from a prompt. You could do the map prompt and then do a different sort of take on the Wikipedia page. The prompts are just designed to help you start. So I hope you had fun. I'll see you next time for another instruction and